Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's AMA. Progress is going quite well at the project, and we're looking forward to sharing some of the details of that with you over the course of the next 10 15 or 20 minutes. And then at the end, we'll have our quiz as usual. I'm going to hand you over to Herman now. He's going to give us a strategic and core development update, and then I'll fill you in on some details on the business side.
Thank you, Owen. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Yesterday, we published a post detailing the strategy of the Cherry team, of the Cherry management going forward, as well as some thoughts about our past progress. I'll spend some time today somewhat summarizing those thoughts. But if you want to read the whole thing, it's quite brief and does provide a pretty comprehensive understanding of what we have done, how we thought about it, and we've attempted to justify, perhaps in not so many words, why we've taken certain choices that have been debated and perhaps criticized in the past, as well as listing explicitly a few things to expect in the near future. So the blog starts off with a retrospective of the broader industry for the past year. I don't need to tell you guys that things haven't gone very well for the broader industry due to a combination of both lack of interest locally, and this can be justified in a variety of ways. I won't get into that. Geopolitical events that, of course, though we have no control over them, do affect us, and we do have to respond to them and address them in our strategy, down to how we decide to spend our money and where. And also some cyclical factors, such as monetary policy, the expense, the costs of money, that, though, again, we don't exactly control, but we do have better visibility over, and are, I think, useful. Both measures of where to invest time and money and how to do it, or at what pace, so how to control growth. Just as the leaders of monetary policy, the central bankers that right now are meeting in Portugal, deciding our short-term money future, so to us in our small but nonetheless much more practical role as stewards of Cherry, or more generally leaders of startups. We need to decide how to allocate our treasury and how to invest it, given, let's say, shortage of new capital, lack of interest, or rather lack of risk appetite for investors, and a shift to more defensive investment attitude toward, so instead of and away from more risky and aggressive growth opportunities, such as what Cherry would be. And all this to say that we've took all that into account and made certain decisions. We may have been wrong, we may have been right, time will tell. But this blog allowed us to give a brief overview and brief insights into that thinking. So to show that it's not just haphazard decision making. I wake up one day and say, "Oh, let's spend money on ecosystem," and the next day, let's backtrack on that and let's focus on core. but rather it is influenced by both these considerations as well as community demand. And we have been interacting, interfacing with community members. And though at times you guys can be pretty harsh, I think the general consensus is, sure, we could have done better, but it's unclear how. In the second part of the blog, we list what to expect from sharing the future. We have released the EVM compatibility parachain a few weeks ago, about 2 months ago now on testnet. Due to a variety of issues that aren't particularly interesting to detail now, we haven't been able to distribute it more widely, let's say to non-technical users. I'd hope to get the bug bounty out last week. That again was not possible. I hope to get it out today, and due to another issue that I messaged about on Telegram, but again I can maybe share something about that at the end. We weren't able to do that either today. I think tomorrow it's reasonable to expect that both all the required documentation as well as the guides and the instructions will be out to finally open up the Cherry Network testnet, or rather the EVM compatibility parachain currently deployed on the Cherry Network testnet to the public, so that we can receive feedback and hopefully within a few weeks have gathered enough information, enough data points to either adopt, fix the final few bugs, or if everything's perfect, launch the parachain on mainnet. There are a variety of benefits to doing this. I think we'll either refer you to the many conversations we've had in the past about this, about the benefit of having EVM compatibility on Cherry, in addition, an extension to the interoperability that again was a value that was core to our network for since its founding. But we also made a list that you can refer to on this blog. Some other tools you can expect or access right now are the EVM indexer and Explorer. Currently, you can access that on evm.cherryscan.io. That is a simple tool that allows layman users, again, non-technical users, to view what's going on in the EVM parachain, review the transactions that they may make, and shortly now that the bug bounty is due to release. An additional tool is this address converter. I won't go into much detail about this. We have a guide on docs.cherry.network about how to use it. The reason it exists is one that we covered several months ago now. It stems from the problem we faced in deterministic account matching between substrate keys and Ethereum keys. Of course, the public keys that are native to Cherry Network are substrate based and have this derivation called SS58. I'm sorry. Whereas the public keys native to Ethereum and Ethereum virtual machines are H160, and we weren't able to enforce this deterministic conversion to the parachain core, and rather we now need one set of substrate keys to interact with the parachain, and these can be the very same that you use to interact with the relay chain. And then another set of private and public keys, namely already in the tool that you use to interact with any other EVM, so let's say MetaMask or equivalent wallets, which you then convert through this tool to again derive the substrate compatible public key from the EVM or Ethereum public key within that wallet to facilitate the transfer, or if you will, the abstraction of trade tokens from the substrate wallet within the parachain over to this this Ethereum wallet or EVM wallet on the same parachain. But again, the documentation detailing all that will be provided, and all this is quite technical. It's not really important because among the next tools you can come to expect of Cherry in the next few months is a web wallet that will abstract all these questions away of MetaMask, of Polkadot.js, of substrate keys, Ethereum keys, and hopefully allow for all this to happen under the hood, so that you can just click the button, transfer, click a button, convert, click a button, deploy contract, whatever it is. And all these considerations about which cryptographic toolkit to adopt, which of the various keys, the Ethereum key or the substrate key for the relay chain, for the parachain, all that will be handled for you. That and more, we'll have a complete specification about this once we feel comfortable that we've finalized it. But you can maybe expect it in the order of months. It's not very soon, but it will happen quite shortly. We're also working on a staking dashboard. You guys have been already using Trade.place. Trade.place is a fine tool. It allows for easy use, easy interaction of with the Cherry network. However, most users just want to use the Cherry network, access the Cherry network to execute transfers, and therefore the wallet, and stake, and therefore this other tool. I'd say we can expect it in the order of weeks. Over time, it will probably be integrated into the wallet so that they become the same application that allows both transfers, account abstraction, transfers between parachains and from, let's say, the parachain substrate state over to the EVM, as well as staking. But in the meanwhile, we'll publish it as a separate tool, and it's nothing more. It's not, let's say, more functional. It doesn't provide you anything more than what already is accessible on Trade.place, but rather it provides the same features in a more user intuitive and easy to use way. Lastly, we mentioned our relationship with Polkadot. I think I'm droning a bit too much today, so you can just refer to that. But in short, we have worked closely with Substrate and Polkadot. We share much of the same stack and tools, and we plan on pursuing this relationship further. The exact method will be we'll probably announce at some other time. I don't want to make any commitments now, but it may be under the form of parachains, parathreads, or another form of compatibility of Cherry into Polkadot. Overall, that is all quite interesting. The Polkadot ecosystem is among the most dynamic. Certainly at this stage, where again There's not much going on in crypto, and we are happy to have made the choice of adopting Polkadot technology several years ago. I think now we've been validated. If we had adopted anything else, the path of integration, path to further interaction with these core developers would be certainly less interesting or less appealing. In fact, we chose Polkadot. Polkadot is doing swimmingly, and we hope to interact with them. The exact details about how and why we'll discuss some other time. So in short, we've done a lot. We may not be the best at communicating what we do, but that will soon change. Though the past few months, perhaps the past year, have mostly been focused on building these products that you'll now be able to use over the next few weeks as we release them. We think that this building phase is mostly done. The chain network is now a relay chain, so the most advanced scalability-focused architecture for blockchain networks today, and that was an advancement released on December. Well, first of all, we do have a mainnet, which is not necessarily common, and we have had that for over a year now. We released the CVM compatibility parachain a few months ago on testnet, and we can now safely assume that it'll be live within a month on mainnet, which allows both a whole bunch of features to be accessible through Ethereum tools, so highly documented tools on Cherry, as well as allowing this vision of granting, of extending the tools that are native to Cherry and making them accessible over to the most used general purpose networks such as Ethereum, Binance Chain, Polygon, etc. We are finalizing these last few tools, such as the various explorers and indexers, to make interacting with the Cherry network and its parachains and its other tools easy. And we are plotting a way to interact with other industry leaders to facilitate this development and bring it forward, as well as borrowing and continually integrate and improve our core technology in communication and in coordination with other stakeholders that all seek to advance this common goal of decentralization within, let's say, the Polkadot ecosystem. And so now that we've accomplished all that, and or at least set the foundations to accomplish that in the future, it is now a proper time to plan out the next steps. Not only product, which is mostly what we've focused so far on, but also communicating this product and getting the product in the hands of others, in the hands of certainly the community. And we are starting campaigns for that. Tomorrow we'll launch this bug bounty. We'll be releasing these tools and supplementary documentation, but beyond our community as well. Developers, other industry stakeholders, and even laymen uninitiated to crypto, or maybe people who were interested in crypto at some point to trading and other sort of non-technical appeals, and now really communicating the value of why crypto, why blockchain is valuable, not only for a story, not only for quick gains within a trading context, but also as a technology worth using, a technology that does add value both to individuals and companies and enterprises. The blog ends with this open question mark. I'll end today's AMA, today's thoughts with this open question mark. I'll just say that we are now in this pivotal moment. Any feedback on this open question is welcome, and I hope to be able to share more news, more information about this in the future. Now that we really are doubling down on this effort of not just building product, but taking the product that we've already built or set the foundation of building in the future and telling the world about it. Well, that's it. I'll also mention that earlier today there was a system outage. There was a problem with the two validator with two validators on Trade Network. The mainnet has been offline for a few hours, or rather inaccessible for a few hours. It has been haphazardly producing blocks. We'll have more information about that soon, but we are working on a fix. We're coordinating with all the validators who have been promptly contacted, and we are interacting with all of them. And we hope to get this sorted within 2 or 3 hours. I just received some information about this, so I'll just maybe suspend any further comments and read that first. And if you have any questions about it, feel free to ask them. We'll try to address them soon, but otherwise you can expect that within a few hours, all systems will be back working. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Herman. That was quite informative and very thorough. I think we're all quite pleased with some of the developments that have been revealed over the past few days, and we're all quite keen to see where things go in the near future. From my side, I will now provide you with some info on some ancillary supporting activities that are going on at the moment in support of the development effort. Specifically, one of the things that people have been waiting for has been the merch store. The merch store is actually done and ready to go. I'm going to wait until the bug bounty is launched. Before that's released, I'll wait probably till the day after. So I think that Friday would be a good time to do it. The bug bounty, as Herman mentioned, will probably be very, very soon. I think that we will have the other of our most recent validator set expandees join us on Friday for a little chat, probably in the afternoon around this time, or maybe a little bit earlier, to talk similar to how we discussed matters with the other with 32 Ventures last week. And I think that we will have some good insights from those guys. These people are quite experienced, and it's always good to emphasize the network of people that we have that support us in various guises, from investment to marketing to technical support, such as the validator partners. So that should be enjoyable. Later this week as well, we're going to discuss the situation with some of the ecosystem projects. As you guys heard from Herman, it makes much more economic and strategic sense to seize the opportunities that are in front of us from our very core unique selling acumen that we have in the project, to drive that forward and to make our mark in the industry with regards to our core value proposition, rather than spend quite so long with the ecosystem projects, which with whom a lot of progress has been made. But at the same time, right now, I think our community is broadly or overwhelmingly in agreement that the business opportunities for Cherry, the core Cherry offering, is very, very strong, and we should focus on that. That doesn't mean that ecosystem projects are being ignored. It just means that they're de-emphasized to a certain extent compared to where they might have been a few months ago. Nevertheless, the outlook for such projects are the outlook is quite strong still, probably even stronger because I mean the phrase "a rising tide lifts all boats." That's what people say with regards to free market economics. In that, if just by way of analogy, if a given economic jurisdiction or economic ecosystem experiences economic growth, then even the less or even the more peripheral people or companies or whatever in that ecosystem, in that economy, will also see their fortunes rise as well. So as Cherry advances along its roadmap and towards market penetration, these ecosystem projects will benefit from that in the long run as well. We'll clarify all this in the next couple of days. I'm hoping to do that on Friday. It will be on possibly even tomorrow, but it'll be Thursday, Friday, or next Monday. Next week we'll also have other partners joining our AMA. As I said, things will start to heat up. I think people were unsure to the extent of which things would heat up, but this is very much the case now that we are on an expansion footing at the moment, as Herman has described in the blog and in his elaboration thereof a few minutes ago. We are expanding things at the moment, and we're going to be trying to introduce as many partners, as many new ecosystem projects. Even though our core ecosystem projects might not be emphasized, we're going to try and expand things as much as possible over the next few months. So it's quite an exciting time for all of us. As I mentioned earlier, the merch shop is just, there's a couple of things that need to be addressed with that. And after the bug bounty goes out, then the merch shop will be launched within 12 to 24 hours thereafter. As well as that, we want to really beef up the overall level of content, knowledge, information, and community activity within the Cherry ecosystem as much as possible. And that involves we're going to brush up the Cherry Labs University and push that out a bit more, and also the DAO forum is something that we're going to look at beefing up a bit, because and this might not be as evident at the moment, given the fact that the project is in a kind of lean progress orientation at the moment. But Cherry is, of course, a decentralized project. It is community. Ultimately, it will be community run and owned. The addition of new validator partners, for example, is part of that. We don't control what they do. They are independent actors. And as Cherry expands towards a more mainstream tech market footing, things will decentralize more and more, which has been our intent from day one. And we have said as much from day one that the Cherry project is supposed to be collaborative, decentralized, Web3, all the rest. Having a strong DAO forum is very important. We want our community to be aware that it's there. We want our community to be posting stuff themselves, etc., etc. So we'll be beefing up some of the content on there. We're going to just describe a very broad range of things that are happening or that are inherent or characteristic of the Cherry network. So that should be fun as well. So that's it from me. We went on a little bit longer than we had planned, but we've had a lot of cool things to discuss with you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand you over to John. He's going to run the quiz. As you can see, we've been very busy. So my apologies to people who have been waiting quite a while for their prizes, but I'm going to hope to get that done in the next few days. Unfortunately, guys, we're very focused on helping the company and you guys and the community, our investor community, as much as possible by working very hard. We work every day of the week. We work weekends and stuff. and things like giving away prizes, it's not the most important. It's not prioritized, but we do always get around to it, and people in the community can attest to that. That sometimes it takes a few weeks for us to get them the prize money, but we always do. So sit tight, and I'm hoping to get that sorted in the next few weeks, or sorry, in the next couple of days, next few days. In the meantime, I'll hand you over to John, and he will show you guys. It's a very cool and a bit more technical quiz this week, which I think is quite interesting. But he's going to take it away. I'm going to talk to you guys later on in the chat. We have a lot of things coming out over the next few days, which I've already elaborated on. And as always, shoot me a DM or whatever if you have any questions.